I'm just changing the shirt with this shitty. That's right, fucking let's do it.
It's dad life, mate.
Dad life.
Shit all down your shirt. Where'd that come from? I don't know. What is it? Don't ask. Just don't taste it.
It's banana or snot or some shit.
Yeah.
But we'll start the show like that. Where Drew and I are just looking at this bit of shit on my shoulder. There's more. Oh, there's another one there.
Yeah. Just don't taste it, you'll be fine.
That's right. Actually, I remember now. I gave Lillian some of my porridge, and she, after eating some, they get a little bit of drills out. She looked right over my shoulder and just went, oh, like that. Just put her mouth on there and just let all the shit, like it was just there to, just a cloth to wipe.
They love it. They do it with your face too. They get it like that. It doesn't change. I'm on 6, she still does it.
Oh man. This is real dad movement.
It is, yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
That's it. But we got the man, the maestro.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me back in the sanctum.
Back in HQ.
Yeah.
It's great having you up, mate. I thought we did more. We've done a lot of things together, obviously, guys, with RDM, but haven't done one since I think October. It's been over a year.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
What's happened?
Yeah.
12 months. That's the key with this episode. 12 months in time. It's gone fast.
It's been a big year and it's been fast and so much growth within RDM massively in processes and then ourselves, each other. Like it's been unreal. It's like it's one of them years that you see all the things on all the socials going, like 2020 was the worst year ever, and it's same as what we've spoken about before. You sit back and you go, but look at everything that's been accomplished in that time. Like, yeah, shit's happened, but at the same time you go, well, look where we are now.
Yeah,
look how much growth there's been.
Yeah, there's always growth. I mean, here we are sitting. I've got shit all over my shirt. Even if you're listening to this, I'm sure you can visualize. And got Drew looking sharp with his dad's strong shirt. My eyes are killing me. I've got a 7-week-old at the moment, and I actually feel really good. I'm not tired. It's just my eyes are fucking killing me, which makes me present like shit. So if you're looking at watching this on YouTube, don't just listen to it.
Yeah. No, you do look average.
Unless you want to look at Drew, I'll bring my arm up a little bit more and try and flex.
I actually look tan next.
You look really tan. I think it's the
unreal.
lighting. Fix this lighting.
I'm going to take this light home.
I've got a spare one home again, actually. I brought it home and Corinne said, what do you think you're doing with that? I brought that home, the tripod, and said I got a new camera. But, anyway.
Sit in the corner with a blanket.
So hopefully this week she lets me back in the house. It's been 6 months.
Yeah.
But,
you should paint the roof of the shed while you're out there.
Yeah, it needs a lick. It needs a lick of paint, that's for sure. It's just dots. Mate, those who are listening have probably been through a turbulent year like all of us. You know? And what Drew said earlier, guys, hits the nail on the head. When we're looking at what we're looking at, what you look at is your reality. You know? When we're looking at how you focus and what you focus on ultimately defines your feelings towards a year, a person, a moment, an experience. Yeah, 2020 has been tough in different ways for me, and in many ways for you, mate. You've had an unbelievable transformational year, really. When I look at RDM, it's like, well, look at all the other roots that we've built into the ground to now have an even bigger foundation to launch off. And I guess the big point of today's episode is talking about the last 12 months in a reflective way, and what you've done to change and how you've changed. You know, because you did a session just recently for the dads. Drew does our maximum videos. They're great pump ups, great starts to the week as well. At any time, sometimes dads catch them a few days later because they're busy and things happen. But we always make sure we follow through and we see it all. And it was great because it was talking about your emotions, controlling them, keeping them in check, working with facts and lots of different moving parts. But how's the last 12 months changed for you, mate? And how have you made the changes?
The last 12 months have been massive. For me, it's a lot of growth and putting my own stuff into perspective and look at different, and even my own perspective on challenges in the world and socials and all that sort of stuff. There's so many different influences on your life each time. And then for myself, I've kind of got there and I look at it and go, okay, so what are the facts behind that? What's driving that perception? What's driving these kinds of things? And be able to turn that around to just really look for the truth in things and not where am I headed? What can I do to change where I want to go? How can I make myself better? How can I look at different things and triage them as well? So you got all your different priorities and what's going to serve me, what's not going to serve me, what's going to send me down the rabbit hole of emotion when that emotion is not going to serve me, and those kinds of things as well. So it's really trying to keep that handle on everything. And then even here with Real Dad Movement, the amount of growth that I've had in that time and being able to reflect on myself, my own experiences, and all the stuff from the guys and all those kinds of things, and be able to put that all that together, present that, and my own research and reading and all that sort of stuff as well. My knowledge, I've found my own knowledge base is a lot broader now, and I have a lot more in there that I never thought previous that I would have to give before. And even when I've asked you plenty of times about like why did you get me on, Al? Like, I had that imposter syndrome going on where I didn't feel like I should have been here, and now that 12 months is just really the growth has been exponential for that to get there. And I go, well, I'm actually there's value in what I have to do. There's value in how I feel about things, and I can express that now where before I never felt like I could. And then now it just flows a lot easier than what it ever has. That's with this as well anyway. So
yeah, man, a lot of wisdom, like a lot of growth I've seen with you. It's incredible. And what Drew touched on there, guys, is like, am I worthy? Am I enough?
Yeah.
Can I add enough value? And in his eyes, it's not that you didn't, otherwise you never would have come on board.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was the questioning ourselves. It's like, well, shit, man, like, it's hard work. What you said just then, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. A lot of soul searching and a lot of reflection, review. And again, like I'm the kind of guy that will wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'll cry at a drop of a hat. Addie had a dance concert thing the other day, and I'm sitting there and I'm crying. And looked around, and the other parents that were there, they were like, "Oh, this is really cool." And I'm going, "No, like this. Look at this." And like I will break into tears or laughter really easy, and it's more trying to get that control over that and understand why my emotions are reacting that way and all those kinds of things, and then being able to articulate that so that other guys, especially with IDM and all our members, can look at that and go, okay, so I'm having similar experiences. How can I go from that? How can I handle this? And for my own sanity as well, is to get there and go, okay, so I'll live my emotion at the moment, and now I'll look at reflection. Where can I push that forward and to be able to you can controlling your emotions, but you're not letting your emotion control you. So you live the moment, live it out, and then understand why you felt that way, and then look at how you may be able to mitigate that later on if it's becoming an issue, or if it's something you just have to live out, you live it out. And it's just one of those things.
It's hard too, because we all have a picture in our head, right, of how something is, how it should be, what it looks like, what it is, which means what you said then about seeking truth, or slightly earlier about seeking truth, it's hard because a lot of people already have a truth fixated inside their own head of how something is, which means, well, it's like that old thing, it must empty a cup if I'm to pour into you. And one of those ancient Chinese proverbs or some shit. Sure, you guys have all heard it. But,
it'll be on social somewhere.
Yeah, just type in empty cup, pouring cup, China. It's true, man. Like we create truth where it might not necessarily hold a level of truth with our best interest at heart, or of what's possible, which then puts us down a different rabbit hole of self-sabotage, self-defeat, not seeking growth, which means not if but when the shit does hit the fan, they're not armed with the tools to handle the monstrous variables that come in life, and they end up isolated, alone, defeated and destroyed, and they might only be 45 years old.
Yeah, and you see it all the time. Like you see it far too often in the media. Like you'll be reading the paper and something's happened to somebody, but if they had been able to identify and be able to like move forward from that, whether it was seek help professionally or even if they just looked at themselves and go, okay, so how can I'm feeling this way, but now look at the facts of why I'm feeling this way. What are the contributing factors to be able to turn that around? And how can I turn that around? Am I willing to turn it around? And there's plenty of times, especially being dads, there's no, it's no factor. You have to get it done. You know that things have to change for your life and your kids' life to be better and have them better opportunities for them. So you need to turn that around and go, I need to break some kind of cycle here to be able to become more resilient, move forward, have better relationships, all those kinds of things. And it's hard because you need to look at you have to look at yourself really, really hard. You've got to look at that mirror so hard and turn it around and go, okay, where do I stop? Where do I draw the line and go, I need to get better from this? And not a lot of people can do that. And I find it troublesome that people aren't able to do that to themselves or even be able to take that on board with different things. But as we know, everyone runs their own race and has their own journeys and all those kinds of things. I just hope that I wish that more people would see it before it was too late. They were too far down the rabbit hole where they've been in that emotive state for so long, but they can't find that way out. And that's where just having that awareness makes it a little bit easier to be able to go, okay, this is why I feel this way, or what can I do now to be able to move that forward? And then look back on my past experiences and go, if that was to happen again, how would I best handle it this time? Because I've done that growth and done that work to get there. So it's, I just wish there was more out there where you can go, okay, rather than keep spiraling, you can stop yourself and look in the mirror and go, what can I do now to move forward from that?
Yeah, it's true power, man. Like, that's what you're talking about. Like, one of the elements of what Drew is explaining there, I would package up and say is reflection. Oh, sorry, I'd say is being present.
Yes.
Which is one of those forms is reflection.
It is,
like you said, looking in the mirror, having a hard look at yourself. My life needs to improve. I need to get better. Like, what can I do? And really seeing that true power, which is learning something, doing, and reflecting. That reflection, man, like, you are using the present moment to draw wisdom from what's happened to chart you forward into what can become. People don't do that.
No, not at all.
And they think it's not a special trait. Like, for the masses of the majority, well, no one's special, which means everyone's special.
Yeah.
Like, it's look at some of these creations. If you're looking at technology and these buildings I see these days, it's like, fucking look at the height of these buildings. And my father-in-law says a lot of the panels, most of the panels, put together with tape. But the tape's fire resistant and got all these. It's like, man, it wasn't some special bloke who designed that.
No.
It was just someone who had the ability to be present and apply true power in their life, learning something, taking action.
Exactly.
Everything's moving. Our atoms are moving. Nothing stops.
No.
Nothing's ever the same. But what else would you say would help? So I've spoken to just touched then on, I guess, being present with that awareness and reflecting on yourself to see what you can do to move forward. But what else did you do to help you pull yourself out of ruts, rise up, challenge yourself, challenge the inner voice, and execute and win in many different areas of life over the last 12 months?
It's more been able, like, once I've done the identification and reflection and all those kinds of things, it's coming up with a plan and implementing a plan and sticking to that. And that can be just as hard itself as the actual awareness of where you're at right now. And I used, for our coaching course before, I used finances as an example. And this is where you need to put a plan in place. Like, you can sit there and be really emotive and feel really down because, like, you've got bills here, and here, and here, and how do I get that together? And the enormity of it can really drive you mental, where that's when you need to stop and you just need to detach that emotion from that and go, okay, so what are the facts with that? I used the number 27. So I might have 27 bills and they're all due by Monday. So that's going to be enormous on my brain. That's enormous emotionally. I'm probably going to have cry. I'm probably going to feel really stressed, anxious about it all. Now, if I was to be able to stop myself from going too far down that, reflect and go, okay, so what are the facts here? Yes, I have 27 bills. What are the most important bills that need to be paid that I can pay immediately? And so how can I get them sorted? Paid, bang, bang, bang. They're all done by Monday. The other ones that I can't do, then I prioritize in a list of or an order that I know that I can and get done quicker and all those kinds of things. So I'm going to get there and go, okay, so how do I prioritize them now from the rest? Then I just start ringing the different places where I owe them bills and go, look, I can get you money, say, in a week's time or all those kinds of things. Or can I also even look at another job? Can I take on an extra work? Is there capacity for that? Is there capacity for me to leave my current workplace and move somewhere else where, one, I might be happier, so I'm going to be happier, I'm going to be more productive, or two, I'm also in a position where I might get that might be a higher pay bracket as well. So that way we'll take that little bit of pressure off financially. And I used it as an example because that will give you a plan then, is to go, okay, these are the facts. I owe this much money, I owe this many bills, pay the ones that are immediate, and then work my way through the rest and prioritize those as I go. And there's no different to any other facet in life, really. If you can come up with some kind of plan and you go, okay, so what's the immediate stuff, what's the important stuff, and then work your way through the accessory stuff, and then everything else will come together. And then it's more being able to, again, control your own emotions and your own emotional reaction to those. And it could be anything. It could be you break your leg and you're out of action for like Pete, he's busted his foot, so he's out of action for 6 weeks. So how can he mitigate? Like, you live the emotion when it first happened, and then how best can he mitigate that to be able to still get to where he wants to be over the next 6 weeks and still heal his foot? So he's ready for the summer. So
yeah, it's having that ability to sort of separate sometimes. Go through, we're human beings, live your emotions, that's important, but then separate and go, well, is this moving me forward? Like, is this emotion taking hold of me and it's putting me in a place where I don't want to be? Or is there a different way I can bring what you've just explained and structure into my life, man? Structure of thought, structure of implementation. It's huge. So many people, especially dads, like buck always under the pump. So a lot of times what we do, we're winging it. We wing it. Okay, we wing this, we wing that. All right, we'll see how we go. And it's like this rebellious nature we have inside of us as humans wants and desires freedom. So when we're not controlling things that we think we can, like our children or relationships or work and other variables, we straight away cast off into the wide world of winging it, and this becomes a perception of freedom when ultimately you're creating more chaos instead of going, well, how can I have more control over the structures of my life to implement the right things for me? It's so funny too, guys. Like, if you're listening to this or watching this, almost certainly if you're watching this, you've changed over and you're listening now. If you're listening to this or watching this, like, it's such a hard reality that a lot of people don't actually see, man. Like, this is just what happens. It is what it is. Like, well, yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be. Like, apart from what I said earlier with my eyes being sore, my nutrition's fucking bang on, and it's not without being a saint, but it's bang on, like really good, better than when I was an athlete. My energy levels are huge. My temperament nature in the family is great, even though it's chaotic with a newborn and an 18-month-old that doesn't listen. She does whatever she wants, and then another daughter is in high demand, and I'm still training 4 days a week. It's great because I'm creating this structure, and that which I think Jocko says, that discipline equals freedom. You know? So it's and a good saying that you love sharing and saying is, do what is right, not what is easy. Like, that's so true, man. Like, just do the fucking right thing, and it's a little bit extra at the front end, but the back end,
it's rewards,
huge dividends,
massive rewards. And again, like the discipline equals freedom with Jocko Willing. Like, if you do have them financial problems, you structure a disciplined financial goal or management system, and then, okay, it's hard at the moment, and again, you're steering away from that easy option. You're still doing the right thing. You're steering away from that, and then you're going to be able to bring that forward and go, okay, so now, say 5 years time, I'm so much further in front than I was 5 years ago because I've maintained that structure. And none, with the span and control, and also the structure, sometimes that goes to the window too. We're all dads, shit happens, and that's when you get that emotional reaction because you can't control shit. And then again, on the flip side, you need to look at that and go, okay, I'm starting to get all wound up because I can't control something. Then you need to readjust your strategy then and look at what you can control. What can you control in that situation that will, okay, it's not the plan that you had, but how can I adjust my plan now to still be able to navigate that and move forward, so I don't feel like I'm losing control and don't end up down the rabbit hole of anxiety and just full-blown emotion where you don't want to go too far.
Depression and all. The life is a series of patterns. Your emotions are patterns as well. So what Drew's explaining there as well, guys, it's a great breakthrough we're having going, you know what? Yeah, shit is going to hit the fan. Life is going to get in the way. But guess what? You're predisposed to default to a better series of patterns of what you've already built. Like I said, you built the front end, so the back end's there. Even when you're under the pump or in damage control, you have pre-wired into your brain, into your heart, into your psyche, into everything, how you can handle when there is variances either way. And if it's completely blown out the water, cool. At my core being my fundamental level, which doesn't mean it takes 50 years to build, but at my fundamental level, what have I built in a light of perspective? So, yeah, am I optimistic? Is there a way? What are my options? And asking quality questions of yourself to navigate through, the choppy waters.
Yeah.
But one thing I love this, like structure and awareness to be present. Let's run with those two. Like, Drew looks at our accountability mindset. He's a phenomenal asset to RDM, and love having you, mate. I really do. It's really helped. Like it doesn't have to just come from me; it comes from you, the other coaches. We've got a great team. In your experience with what you've done with us in RDM so far, when we're looking at patterns of awareness and structure, there being none, what have been the pitfalls you've seen with some of the dads, or the challenges, or up against the walls that you've seen them face? And then we'll touch on the opposite, those who have conquered that.
Okay, the guys that don't actually get over where they're stuck. If they get stuck on something, or it takes a little while for them to get stuck, it's actually awareness for a lot of guys. And because they feel really emotive about something, and they'll just keep replaying it, so they get stuck. Get replay it in their head, or there'll be something that happened sort of, and this is what I touched on with the coaching video earlier too. It might have happened 5 years ago, and you go, okay, where was I? And something might have happened so that you get that memory or that emotion floods back. You go, okay, so where was I in myself 5 years ago compared to where I am now? And how would me, like how I am now, how would I handle that same experience now? Is there a better way that I would handle it? Am I better in myself? On a scale of 1 to 10, I might have been a 1 then in myself, and now I'm like an 8. So now I can look back at that and I go, okay, so how is this emotion going to serve me when it's like I'm reflecting back on a memory, or I use how I experienced that to be able to go, how can I better equip myself now for that memory or that event that is similar, rather than going back down the same road I did before? How can I then take what I've learned from that and move it forward? Where a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but there are some guys that will get stuck on that one thought, and it doesn't matter how much you try to guide them and be able to make them aware of that, until they're aware of it themselves and the penny drops for themselves. That's when you see the change. Or it might even be just a different mindset check on, they might have their own view on this issue here, and they can't shake that. But if someone else comes in, one of the coaches, even one of the dads in the tribe, when we're all together, and go, but if you thought about this, and then suddenly there's that mental shift, and it's like, well, I didn't think of that. And that's why I've been stuck going down this road, because I didn't think that maybe if I turn right, then I can end up somewhere else. So it is a lot to do with awareness and where they feel they sit with that issue. And if they don't address that, then that's when you see them go round and round in circles. Especially with like some guys get stuck on the weight loss thing, because they jump on the scales every week and it doesn't move for like 6 or 8 weeks. Just throw the scales out the window. I've actually said that to someone in the last couple of months, because they got stuck. I went, just take them outside and throw them out in the bin. And because you don't want to keep going over the same thing all the time, change something up. So take measurements instead of jumping on the scales. And it turns out they'd lost like 3 belt notches and all those kinds of things, but they were looking at their markers the wrong way. So if you can just get that mental shift in how you look at your markers, then that will also in turn change the way you perceive things as well.
It's powerful, man, because we were too quick to just cast off experiences, cast off our own value of self in seeing that there's always a gift or something you can adjust or coordinate. That's the value. That's the value of life, man. Like fuck, there's always something you can pull out. And that doesn't mean I'm a robot looking at everything going, how can I use this for the future?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm present. I enjoy playing with my kids, and there's times when I don't need to turn the brain on, but it's that intrinsic awareness, if you do find a roadblock or a hump, to recognize the pattern and recognize what can change. And like you said, then the different markers you can put in place to help them. And one of those big things in that awareness is simply remembering. Like surely there's been a period or a stage or a moment or a decision or a thought process where every dad listening to this has fucking won. He's done something. He's gone, fuck yeah, that was good. I did this. I did. Mate, even if you're 10 years old, fucking who cares? Like, I did this. I won at that. I conquered this. I actually surprised myself with that. And okay, cool. Look at that and just remember. Like, remember what you can use. Remember what you can do. Remember what it felt like, even to link the emotions with the facts. Definitely. Unreal. My coaching session that I did with the crew, what was one of my goals? Affirmations. Because for me, I know I can be a big fucking powerhouse and help create change in the world, especially with the right team around me. But with the crazy, chaotic world, especially at the moment, you forget.
Yeah.
I get in this mode of shit. I just need to make sure Roman's ass isn't exploding and the kids aren't crying and Lily's not climbing up, grabbing a knife on the bench. And it's like, hang on a minute. It's okay. You can handle all this, but take that moment out to just remember. That's important. Remember what's possible and where you are. But I guess on the flip side though, mate, like you've seen, you know, I've seen a lot of the dads, like what Drew talks about is a minority of dads going through teething processes and feeling their feet, like finding their feet, but which is why I love the different coaches, because we keep popping around with different perspectives and different ways to deliver the same message of greatness, which means, like you said, they get that click, boom, that was it. And then something else will click. We're like, now I know what Al meant or what Drew meant, or now this makes sense with the nutrition, or that makes sense with my training. What are some of the fruits of the labor that you see with those guys who are aware, they've got that structure and they're putting that right pattern in place? Like the wins, the changes physically, mentally, family?
Well, we've got there's one client now, or one of the guys now, he is time poor and hasn't been able to train too much, but his nutrition's on point. He's going through what he needs to go through with relationships and all those kinds of things and getting his mindset right. And I was talking to him the other day, and he said he's never had a better relationship with his wife and family for maybe 5 years. And even though he can't get that training in, he's had that awareness and his own growth to be able to go, man, I'm a bit down that I can't get this training in, but look at all the different bits and pieces here that I am able to bear the fruit for now, where a lot of guys, or some guys will look at that, I haven't been able to train, where he's been able to switch it and go, but look at all the plethora of stuff I've got over here. And again, with guys that he's better in fitness and training and weight loss. And some guys, I would never ever think before about doing a high intensity boxing class. Now he's lining up for 2 or 3 a day, or whenever he's got a chance, he's in there. And like I said, like I mentioned before about the scales, and that might have been where they were stuck because they couldn't mentally get their head around why their weight had not moved and it had plateaued. But then, like, you just give them that cue. You go, "How do your pants fit?" And they're like, "Hang on, I'm going down like 4 pairs of pants." And you go, "There you go." Like you were stuck on that part there. And then once they get that, and once they work out where they can use that as a win, that's when everything else ties into place as well. So they've got that, okay, their pants have come down 4 sizes, but then now they've got that boost and they've got that confidence, and they've gone, okay, beautiful. How can I apply that confidence boost and what I've already learned to be able to make my life better in other facets? And it all goes hand in hand. Like the guy that's got a better relationship with his family now, and guys that are losing weight, once you get that confidence in one area, the other ones start to come up as well, and you end up just into that growth spurt where, and everyone plateaus, but you're going to hit that growth spurt where you fire up for a bit, everything goes really well, and then you sit in that plateau, and then something will happen and it'll fire off again. And it's more just that awareness of where they are, that mental shift, and what that, and the guys are putting in plans in place with themselves to look and go, okay, this is what's happening here. And they've contacted us through the dream team or through the guys with the tribe as well, and go, oh, look, I've got, this is happening at home, or this is happening with my training. Is there something I can pick up? And there's always someone who's either been there, or they've done it, or they know someone who has, and they can just drop that little tidbit and go, maybe try this. And then just that the power of the group has helped them be able to go, oh, okay, I'll try that. I'll look at that, and then be able to bring themselves out of that as well.
The environment plays a big role, doesn't it? But I think, as a whole, like we're helping the man, and the big hat he wears his father. Look, that's a fucking big hat. And there's other ones with work and relationships.
Especially your head.
Yeah, that's right. I got a video. Yours looks bigger than mine. I need to lean back. We're helping him change his life. Now, the term life coach and how it's commonly accepted and distributed is probably the reason why we don't say we're life coaches. Because we're not. But we help them change their life. Where we're going with RDM is uncharted waters. I've not seen any body and any entity or anything do what we do across the different areas, those big facets of their life. There's some big ones, man. And there's past, there's present, there's future. And then there's body, and then there's mind, and then there's self-esteem, self-worth. There are big parts.
They're massive, yeah.
Big parts. And the greatest way that we create this wholesome connection is helping them identify, helping them get out of their own way, giving them the tools and the awareness to go, hey, it's not just a 3-week thing. Giving them that understanding to go, I'm invested long term, because it's not a 3-week thing with a few meal plans, some training. If it was that easy to do that and to win, do you think it'd be that easy to then undo and be fucked up again?
Oh yeah,
of course.
With the day, you see the 28-day dad bod challenges, and I've lost 15 kilos. You go, beauty. But as soon as they finish the dad bod challenge, they're straight down the pub, eating chicken schnitzels and smashing 10 beers, and you go, hang on, you haven't actually learned anything. You haven't. Or the information that you've been given, you haven't actually absorbed, because you need that long term. You're after that long term goal, but you've just got the immediate gratification. There's no, you really need to have that long term exposure for any change. You can't just throw it in and go bang, go for it. And that's where that comes from, because they've chased that immediate gratification. Look, I've just dropped 28 kilos. In beauty, you have. Let's see how you go in the next 4 weeks, and see if you revert back to your old habits, or if you've actually learnt some things along the way.
Things can start from the outside in, but they ultimately have the greatest effect from the inside out. So what we're talking about here is planting a seed. Does that mean if you've been fucked for 10 years, it's going to take 10 years to undo? No. Because the intensive program we have here and how we operate in the different moving parts of the dads, the tribe, the energy from the coaches, the direction, the structure, the 5 pillars in how we operate, it compoundingly works much better than the self-sabotage and the detriment they've caused themselves. So we get dads who generally, they can click right away, but generally after that sort of 14-month mark in RDM, just over a year, it just seems to be like, hey, this is it, Al. Yeah. Like, this is who I am. And we're talking about planting the seeds. Like the old bamboo tree takes 4 years to come out of the ground. And then in that 5th year, it's just exploded
up.
Yeah, it's like, cool. Massive. People might laugh at someone watering dirt every single day or every second day or every third day for 4 years and just laugh. And it's like, yeah, but people don't understand. That's what I see when you're talking about the value, especially because, you're covering our accountability, our data, the mindset side of things with RDM. When we're looking at awareness and structure, planting the right seeds, mate, they can grow up to some pretty big bloody oak trees, can't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some guys that are killing it in all facets. Some are killing it in some because other pieces haven't come together yet. But you can see from what they've been telling us and what they've been putting in that it's on the way. And you go, man, this is unreal, because you're watching it over the course of a big period of time where all the different pieces are starting to form the puzzle. And like you say, some guys are already there. And with that 14-month period, and that's around, to be honest, that's where it is with some guys, because they just get there and they click, and then they're there. And there's guys that now you just check in on them once a week and go, hey, how you going, mate? Yeah, sweet. I'm just still crushing it and doing this, and this. And they're like, sweet. You know anything? No, I'm cool. Because it's all starting to come together for them. Yeah, that's why we have a Members for Life program. 400 days. Yeah, we get you for 400 days. We know that you're going to need some tune-ups, but just knowing that we're there, equally helps them stay the course and continue to invest in themselves the right way. Because that planting seed, what we're talking about here, oh, fuck, man, like a meal replacement shake or a 28-day challenge. That's like getting a tree and just cutting a big branch off and just sticking it in a pot that's tilted and going, hey, it looks good, look green. The leaves are still green. Bonsai.
It's a bonsai. The leaves are green. It looks all right. And it's like, it's wilting and dying. What's going on here? It's like, where are the roots? Where's the grounding? Where's the foundation? Because every dad who's come through and done those sorts of things, when I've had the phone call, they all say the same thing, man. Yeah, I did it. it was great. It was successful, and
Back
then
to
it
square
wasn't.
one.
Yeah, or I got results and I didn't. And
Mm.
to which I say, because everything's action, not taking actions in action,
Mm.
right? Everything will give you a response. Is it the result you want? And success to me is determined by the longevity.
Mm.
That's the
Mm.
big thing, man, the longevity. But what would be a starting point of advice? Because there's heaps of dads, and oh, it's awesome. We got like over 10,000, probably 12 or 13,000 at this stage now. Downloads on our podcast,
Wow.
man. So it's really cool. Really enjoying the reach that we're having, and love that
It's
you
massive.
guys listen and
Yeah.
or watch on YouTube. But
Mm.
some of the dads obviously haven't been exposed to the environment that we put out and how
Yeah.
we lay the foundations for them. I don't know, man. Like, what would be just maybe as we wrap this up, a couple of key points to just give them a bit of direction or structure to help them if they feel like they're stuck or in a rut. Or what's the best thing you find that's helped you and helped the guys that you work with?
For myself personally, it's more if you do find yourself stuck, look at why you're stuck. Look at the facts why you're stuck. And it's hard because you got to stand in front of the mirror and look at the mirror and go, like, you have to be brutally honest with yourself.
Mm.
And whether it's fitness, whether it's nutrition, money, self, how you feel about family, how you feel about yourself mentally, physically, all those kinds of things. And it's hard because you have to be, like, everyone's told to be kind to yourself as well. And there's times when you have to, but if it's like the watershed moment where you have to turn it around, you need to look there and you have to be brutally honest with yourself and then accept where you are today. Then once you've accepted where you are today, live that emotion because it's going to hurt. Not everyone, like, only the really maniacs like think they're killing it and they're like Dr. Robotnik off Sonic the Hedgehog. And like I'm going so well.
Mm.
In reality, that's not it.
Mm.
That's not where you are. It's going to really, really hurt when you look in the mirror and you look at all your downfalls, or even some that you need to bring together. And there'll be others that you won't know that are in the background that will come together as well. Once you get that awareness and you can see where you need to pick things up, what it is, and again, some are going to be really subtle, you're going to miss those, but the big ones, the big key elements are the ones that you need to work on straight away because you can identify that straight away. And then from that, then you want to devise a plan into how can I change this? What can I do? What can I physically do and control to turn this around? Can I change where I'm headed here? And how do I do that? And it might be a quick fix. Something might be right in front of you that then you go, okay, if I change two things, then that one's done. And I can shelve that now because I've done that growth. But there's quite a lot of things where you need 6, 12, 18 months, 2 years, however long it takes you to get through to that. And they're the ones that are going to be the most beneficial and also the most rewarding. And they're the ones that are going to hurt the most. And you're going to, like we spoke about before, you're going to look back through memory and there's going to be days when your emotion's going to take you back down the same road where you were with that same issue. And that's when you need to look and go, okay, so 12 months ago, I was there with this issue. And this is how I'm starting to feel about a similar issue now. But how did I handle it then? And how do you think I'll handle it now? And again, it's a lot of self-awareness and being brutally honest with yourself and then planning.
Mm. Yeah, I love it, man. Asking questions.
Mm.
That's a big
Question
thing for
everything.
me. Ask a question of yourself and take ownership. Like, yeah, someone might have fucked you up. Someone might have done something wrong by you or done a number on you. And these things happen. And it's rough. It's hard, man. You don't need to take ownership over someone else's actions, but you can take ownership over how you're going to handle it.
Exactly.
After a period of time, there's always a process. There's a process to everything. But
you have that grieving process after virtually any major thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be anything. There's always going to be that grieving process. You have to go through that yourself. Whether it's, look, it could be anything that you're going through, and you look and you go, man, I'm not happy with how heavy I am right now. And you go, okay, how can I turn that around? And you have to, like, as you say, live that emotion, because that grieving process of I'm not happy with where I'm at, I feel really bad about myself. You have to live that grieving process. And then as you start to come out of that, you need to put a plan in place before you come out of that. And then as you come out of that grieving process and start moving forward into growth and acceptance and all those kinds of things, that's when you can then ramp up your plan. and action your plan as you come along. And there's going to be times when you're going to identify different ways that you can pick up better, or you can pick up faster, or is there a way that now once I've got this plan started, how can I adjust that plan to get me to where I want to be quicker, so that I don't feel like this anymore? And just little simple tweaks as you go along the way. And there's going to be times when you drop back as well, you're going to slip, but that's okay, because you can look back and go, okay, how can I keep pushing forward? I'm going to live this emotion, and then work from there.
It's important, man. It's important that you don't suppress the things that you have. Like if this is a key, I think we were chatting about this earlier. If you don't suppress some of the there's some big ones, hardships you go through, and you allow the emotions and the process, but you couple that with seeking growth and change for yourself, it no longer becomes a trauma in your life, as opposed to a moment that helped you move into who you are now becoming. And that's a powerful thing to have, man, because sometimes people will hold on to things too much or for too long. And I mean, shit, what's time anyway? Like, you talk about taking 18 months, 2 years to improve or get better. Like, that time's going to pass anyway.
Super fast.
It's going to go anyway. Are you going to allow the time to pass in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2028? Are you going to allow that time to roll through in your chronological space as a better or a worse version?
Exactly.
Yeah, because you can't stay the same, because you've wasted 3 years, 5 years, 8 years as the same, which means you've gone backwards.
Yeah, you have.
You can evolve. You can improve.
Because everyone else is moving forward. So if you stay stuck, you go 3 years, you're 3 years behind everyone else straight away. And it's hard. It is one of the hardest parts of growth, to be able to do that. But you don't want to be stuck for too long. You want to go, okay, acknowledge it and live it, and then look at ways to get out of it. It's bloody hard work, but at the same time, you need to sit there and you think, especially with the dads, you need to ask yourself this question: what kind of dad do you want to be for your kids in 3 years' time if you're still stuck on something that's happened now? And how does that serve them? How does that serve you mentally? How does that serve you in your capacity to be a father? And how can being stuck help them? Will it help them, or will it be their detriment? What can you do there what do you need to do to change? What do you need to do to be there for them in the next 5 years? But again, we speak about this with real dad movement all the time. You're creating a legacy for the kids as well. So what kind of legacy do you want them to have when they're finished, or when you're finished and you're dust? So where do you want all of the next generations to move forward from, and where do you want them to go? And that's one of the big questions you got to ask yourself. Where am I going? What am I doing? And what is? And I've used this plenty of times as an example for our guys and myself. I get there and I go, okay, what can I change to be a better father for my daughter? What do I need to change to be a better father for my daughter? Is this area here okay, but this one needs to be picked up? Okay, so if I need to pick this one up, what do I need to do that? I need to identify where I need to pick that up and work on that. But also at the same time, use that dichotomy where things are going to change and move around, and it's going to be days where the kids drive you mental, and you lose that patience that you thought you had. And then you go back and you apologize to the kid and go, look, there's no excuse, but this is what's happened, and blah, blah, blah. So that way it's out there and done. And then not beat yourself up over that as well. Like you're going to anyway, because you're going to have that little grieving process about, man, I shouldn't have done that, and you feel really bad. And then you need to be able to turn that around and go, how can I handle that better next time? So there's early questions you need to ask yourself when you're in that position, looking in the mirror, going, what do I need to change? What can I identify that I need to change? And then how can I do it? The next one is why? Why do you want to do it? And what are you leaving behind for your kids? As a dad's experience.
Yeah, and that's important, because it is still your life. It's your life, it's my life. So why is this important? Which means, how is helping me be a better father for my children, or helping in this, or helping in that, make me happier and improve my life as well? So that's an important thing you couple with. But it's a crazy thing, man. Like people get so busy in the rat race of life. They forget to stop and go, hey, this is my life. Like you've got a perception and a way that you see things literally through your eyes, and how you feel things. It's Drew's world, Al's world, your world, listening to or watching this. And even though there's an air of the same or been there, done that,
Yeah,
because there is, like, everything you've done or gone through, there's probably been someone who's gone through almost the same. It's still not you. And that's what I want to close off with here, guys. Like, you've got to be able to pioneer your own life. Like, there's no other word I'd use. Like, you are going to go into unknown and uncharted territory. Maybe known to others, and maybe you can connect and communicate, which is why the tribe's so fucking amazing. And the coaches here and what we have are amazing, because we connect with that and help you get a leg up instead of having to drag yourself through the shit or the mud all the time. Hey, cool. A, I don't feel as bad because there's nothing wrong with me because others have been through it. And B, there are actually other ways I can attack this to help me move forward. Pioneer your own life. Like, it's a given, because when you do that, good or bad, it becomes your legacy, doesn't it?
Exactly. Sure does.
Mate, it's been awesome having you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back in HQ. It's been a few months since I've been.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
It's been a little while, but love having you up, mate.
That's
it's always good to catch up. We get some great stuff done. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode and got some value out of it. If you get a chance, they should go back and watch. You've got longer hair. Maybe I've got short hair. I don't know.
No, I did have longer hair. It's not much, but
that was last October.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd be keen to go back and listen to that and just go, wow, look at the change. What were we speaking about? Even as coaches, because Drew was a coach, he'd come on board not too long, a couple of months, I think. 3 months maybe. So it's been nearly a year and a half, and here we are. It's like a changing organism, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well, it's an organism. It's like changing. It changes, it molds. It's becoming a huge ecosystem, what we do, with an amazing group of men, amazing group of coaches.
Actually, I reflected on that last night, I think, when you were doing the Sunday charge up, and I thought about it myself, and I went, from where RDM was, from where you were, from where I was, from the other coaches where they were 12 or 18 months ago, to where we are now, where we're heading, and the different processes and systems that we've built and put in place, and all those kinds of things. I sat back and I went, it's been an exciting 12 months. It's been a massive 12 months, and you don't realise, because you're in the moment, you're doing this here, that, there, and it's not until you look back and you go, man, so much change.
Yeah, and there'll be bigger moments. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You get the little things right at the start. It's like there are going to be even bigger moments. The events, we're going to go Kosciuszko at the end of this month, which is going to be epic. We'll almost certainly have multiple events next year, which will be amazing, as well as expanding on our supplements, our apparel, our equipment. We're going to have dads set up in their own home gyms, and big things coming, man, for all of us. It's exciting.
So exciting.
It really is. But the biggest lesson from everything today, guys, is just knowing that it's impossible to lose if you consistently grow.
Exactly.
Or consistently seek growth. You might not feel like you're growing at times. You're just standing on the step. I haven't climbed the ladder, or I haven't climbed the steps. Okay, I've gone downstairs a little bit. Or it happens.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Happens. But if you consistently seek growth, it's impossible to lose, man.
Oh, yeah.
I can't see. Like, I've been out, nearly 8 months I've been out of my gym for. Feels like years ago. Not that it's a bad thing, owning a gym. Just for me, I can't believe how much I've grown since.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, massive.
Yeah, it's
so much difference between when you're juggling to now.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Unreal.
Thanks again, mate.
No worries, thank you.
Good having you on. Hope you guys enjoy this. Checking out either on YouTube and or on our podcast platforms. We've got a fair few ones, don't we?
Stitcher, Spotify, Air, something. I can't remember all of them.
Anchor, SoundCloud, iTunes as well. Yeah. iTunes is very good. We get a lot of our dads watching. We've got our own Real Dad Movement one, YouTube, Facebook. So enjoy. Dive on in. Make sure you keep rolling through. If you have started or you're listening to some of these podcasts, keep it going. For the month of November, we are giving away this one. So you might not see because you're listening, but Primal Power 2, Move the Body. It helps you establish the right relationship with yourself and food, is what we covered last month. Movement is what we're covering this month. That's your Primal Power. Nutrition was last month, and this month we're looking at Primal Power. Happy to give you that book. That's a very powerful thing that helps you establish your own relationship with your body and how it works, because that's important, isn't it, mate?
It is. It's 100%. And even with movement, that transfers across mentally as well. And when you don't move, you feel worse. If you do move, you feel awesome. And then mentally, the other way around is when you get used to moving all the time and you don't, and then that plays on your own mind, and you go, hang on. But yeah, it's massive. It's all part of it. Big time, man. Everything you do physically affects you mentally. Don't forget that. So you don't have to become Mr. Olympia, but moving the body and establishing the right relationship of how you should move yours, so you have the long game in hand, so you win. Exactly. It's not about 3 weeks.
It's about decades of movement. It's ultimately going to help you with the real estate between the years. Beauty. Thanks, mate.
No
Thanks,
worries,
guys.
thank you.
Take care. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.